Hey everyone, Alex here from WornOffKeys.com, and I have recently released some updates to the WornOffKeys commands npm package. Most of these were highly requested, and I do plan on adding more in the future, but I'm going to go over a quick list of what has been changed here, as well as demonstrate how to use these changes within this video. So the first thing is per user cooldowns. This is going to work independently between each guild. So if a user is in multiple guilds that have your bot, it will not affect using the command in one guild or the other. We also have global cooldowns, which is going to basically be a cooldown in between each individual guild. So if someone runs a command within your bot, then no one else in that specific guild can run the command until that cooldown expires. We also have command categories, bot color, and bot display names, which are used for an out-of-the-box dynamic help menu, which I'll be demonstrating here soon. I'll also be showing you how you can override this help menu and add in your own if that's something you want to do. You can also override any default command that the WornOffKeys package comes with. We also have an init method right here for commands. In some cases, you might want your commands to have some type of initialization or to register some type of a single event for your commands uses. This is very useful for that. For some of my commands, I found myself creating an individual feature just for a simple listener. This init method really speeds up the process and makes things a lot easier for us. We also have a database connected event that you can listen to. This is useful for wanting to know whenever your Mongo database has been successfully connected to. So real quick, let's take a look at per user cooldowns. If I go into my ping command here, we see that we have a description, which is basic ping pong command. And if I were to run this, it would obviously just say pong. I can add in a cooldown property, let's say 10 seconds, and it has to be spelled like this with the number and then the duration afterwards with no spaces. I'll describe the exact format you have to use here soon. If we save this and we go into our console, we can run the bot with nodemon. Going into Discord, if I run !ping, it will then say pong, but if I run it again, it'll then say you must wait 8 seconds before using that command again, and now it says 5, and of course that's just going to keep counting down until we can actually use it again, such as right there. And if I were to use it again, then it's going to reset the counter. Now if another user was in this Discord and they tried using the command, it would still work for them the first time, even if we had a cooldown, because the cooldown property is for individual users. However, if we wanted a guild-based cooldown, we can specify global cooldown. And the minimum duration for this is going to be 60 seconds. So you can specify 60s or 1m, either one. You can go ahead and save this. And if I were to run !ping, we now see that it works. But if I were to run it again, we now have to wait 59 seconds, 56 seconds, and this is going to continuously decrease. And if other users were in this Discord, they would not be able to run this and they would get the same exact message here. Currently, this message is not configurable, but I will be adding that soon. So that was the per user cooldowns and the global cooldowns. Next, we're going to be taking a look at these 4 new features, which are used for a dynamic help menu. Now keep in mind that if you're watching this the day that this is uploaded, then setting a bot display name is required for the out-of-the-box dynamic help menu to work. However, I will be fixing that sometime this week. So let's go ahead and configure these 3 properties and then see how the out-of-the-box dynamic help menu works, and also how you can override that to add in your own custom help menu if you want. So let's start with command categories. Within our ping command, we can add in a category. And this is going to be, let's just say fun. Now notice the capital F here. It is case sensitive in other parts of the program, so make sure that you keep note of how you spelt it. We can save this. We can go back into our index file. And we need to attach a certain emoji to each category. You'll see why once we go ahead and use the help menu. We can use set category emoji. We can type in fun, which has to be spelled exactly how it was before. And then you can add in whatever emoji you want. For example, mine is going to be this video game controller. We also need to set a display name. So set display name. Whoops. There we go. Set display name. We can say WornOffKeys commands test. And we can also set in a color. So set color, this has to be a hexadecimal value. Let's say 0xFF0000. We can go ahead and save this. And now that these are all set, we can go back into Discord and we can run !help. And it's going to create this help menu for us right here, where there's an emoji per category. We see our red that we specified as the color right here. Obviously you can add in whatever you want. And also I don't think that the quotes are actually necessary. Let me try that out. If we run help again. Okay, so the quotes aren't necessary. So here we have this emoji, and then we have the actual name of the category, and then we have how many commands there are. We also see the display name, WornOffKeys commands test, as the help menu name right here. we can go ahead and click on the gear icon, and then it moves us to this next page. It says page 1 out of 1. Currently it displays 3 commands per page. However, this will be configurable in the future. So it lists all the commands right here. It says the name of the command in bold, it says the description, and it also says the syntax. If there are aliases for the command, you'll see them here as well. We can then click on the door icon to go back to the previous page. And then let's say we want the fun category, which is where our ping command is in. We see that right here. We can go ahead and navigate back. And to show you guys the page system, I'm going to go ahead and change the category of our ping command to configuration. So we can go back, instead of fun, we can then say configuration. We can save this. We can run !help one more time. And now we see configuration has 4 commands, and by default, like I previously mentioned, the maximum number of commands per page is 3. So if we click on this, we are now going to see these extra instructions here of how to navigate through the pages. We see commands 1 through 3 here. We see page 1 out of 2 in the footer of the embed. And if we click on the next, we're going to go to page 2, which then has this 4th command here. So we can navigate back, or we can go back to the main menu. And so this is the out-of-the-box help menu. However, if you don't like this, or you are comfortable with your own code, you can go ahead and add in your own. To do that, we can just simply create a new help file right here, help.js. We can export a basic command. For simplicity, we're just going to have a callback with our message. We also need our args, our text, our client, our prefix, and lastly, our instance, which is the WOKCommands instance. So now that we have access to the instance, we can say instance.commandhandler.commands.forEach, and we can gain access to each individual command within this loop here. We can then console log the command to see what we get. And of course, this isn't going to send a custom embed. This isn't going to send a message of any kind. This is just going to simply console log it. However, you can use this example to create your own custom help menu. So I can save this, the server restarts. We can go back and run !help. And here we see all the different commands displayed with the names, the categories, the description, and the syntax. And so you can use this information to create your own custom help menu. And obviously when we ran this, the previous help menu was not displayed because you can override any of the default commands that are within the WOKCommands package. So going back, we can now cross off these things right here. We also have an init method for commands. So let's say within ping, we want to specifically listen for whenever someone sends a message, and we can just simply console log that message. We can have an init method. This is going to be a function that is going to have access to 2 parameters. The first one is the client. The second one is the WOKCommands instance. Within here, we can register a listener, so client.onMessage. We can then gain access to the message in a callback, and we can simply console log message.content. Now, if I save this, the server restarts. We can go back and I can type in test. And it's now going to console log test. If I say hello world, it'll now console log hello world. And so if you do have some type of listeners that you need within your command, maybe the super simple things that don't justify an entire feature, then you can go ahead and use this init function right here. So next is going to be the database connected event. We can go ahead and copy this, and within our init, we can listen for this. However, we do have to listen to this within the WOKCommands instance and not the actual client. The 2 parameters here are going to be the connection as well as a state, which is going to be a string. For simplicity, we're just going to console log the state just so we can see what that looks like. We can save this, it restarts here. And here we see state is connected. So you can go ahead and check what the state is as a string and then do whatever functionality you need there. So those are all of the new features. Some things that are coming soon is going to be MySQL support in addition to MongoDB. So if you're using MySQL, you can go ahead and use this without any problems. Also the ability to name, enable, or disable each individual feature, which are basically the listeners. Those are things that we've covered in a previous video. And there are a lot of other smaller things I'm adding. There is a to-do markdown file in the main project. You can go ahead and check the NPM repository or the GitHub repository to be able to view that. And of course, this package is going to be improved over time. If you want to keep up to date with the changes, you can go ahead and follow the GitHub logs channel within the WOKCommands Discord. Also, if you have any bug reports, you can type them inside the bug reports channel right here. And if you have any feature requests, go ahead and type them inside the suggestions channel right here. Thanks for watching this Discord.js tutorial. If you want to learn more about Discord.js, consider clicking on the playlist you see on your screen now. If you need help, feel free to leave a comment or ask in the WOKCommands Discord, which can be found in the video description.